to honor you, my King, to honor you, my King. I live my life to honor you, my King, to honor you, my King, to honor you, my King. I live my life to honor you, my King. I live my life to honor you, my King. Highest praise, songs of adoration. Humble knees are bowing, grateful hearts restore. Hands are raised, with shouts of acclamation. Endless hallelujah, praises to the to worship at your feet, to worship at your feet. I bow my heart and worship at your feet, to worship at your feet, to worship at your feet. I bow my heart and worship at your feet.
Okay, so it's been a
I
week
bow my
today
heart
since
and
my
worship
house,
at your feet.
I just can't
Highest
believe how much help and support we've been
songs of
getting. And I just wanted to
adoration, humble
say
knees
thank
are
you to anyone
bowing,
who
grateful hearts
really
respond,
can
with
be
our
just that much
hands
help and
upraised,
support and
with
in
shouts
our
of
walk with God, because
acclamation.
we didn't plan for
Endless
the future and we only planned for the
hallelujahs,
moment. So
praises to the
finding money really seemed like an impossible task, but thanks to everyone else, it's been ridiculously easy in that sense. And I just need to say how grateful everyone is here. Now, my mum's memory and spirit is one of challenging adventure, because she really, really lived, and my dad as well. Thank you. My mum, she had been everywhere. There's friends, I had to go on her Facebook to find people, because these stories that I just remember her telling all the time were so crazy, you just didn't believe half of them, but they're all true. So she's been to Bahrain with one of her friends, Joe, who she travelled with. She's met loads of people there. She could speak Arabic. Parents moved from Filey to Spain. She lived in Spain for a bit. She met my dad in Africa because their parents moved to Africa. They built a life together out of nothing. They built a farm together. My mum kind of took under her wing two of my dad's children, who became my mum's children. One of them was able to make it and help with the funeral and say a couple of words which were really good, basically saying how thank you of my mum and how sorry he is for not saying it. And the lesson in that is to, don't assume that the people around you know the way you feel about them. Don't assume that the people who in your head you're thanking every time you see them, don't assume they know. My mum knew, 100%. I know because she always spoke about them. And I know she knew that we were thankful because she always spoke about us and saying how proud and everything is. But it is nice to just say it. And this last year, I've kind of realised that. And automatically was, saying thank you to so many people and making an effort to spend time with my mum and talk to my mum and try not to push, silly things on her, like stop smoking and stop drinking. In the end, you're going to die when you're going to die, and it's your choice. And I'm kind of glad Mum told me to shove it in that sense. My mum was a mum for everyone, and we all grew up together in Wales with a large kind of extended family, because we were always around each other's house. And my house was open doors, come have some food, play some Xbox, get away from your families and come here. And we had the same in other families. And I've seen that in the support that's come from the GoFundMe page to help pay for my mum's funeral. We managed to pay for it, and a lot of support from people here. We managed to get it sorted, and we gave Mum the best send-off we could, and everyone around by the end of the night were happy, which is what Mum would have wanted, is for people to celebrate her life and not the loss. And the way I've always looked at it since the day I found out last Sunday morning, I knew I had to honour Mum's wishes and memory, and Mum's wishes were to not mourn, to not... It's hard to say it because we're gonna grieve for the rest of our lives. We're gonna have to process it and deal with it and live with a new memory of Mum, a new way of feeling that Mum's here, And her wishes were always to remember her alive and not to spend too much time trying to say goodbye to the shell, which is what a kind of funeral is. It's a physical goodbye, which a lot of people need, and we were able to honour that. We were able to give Mum's friends, and my dad especially, the ability to say goodbye to Mum's physical image. And I've found a lot of strength in this whole thing, because I feel like I can feel Mum's pushing me through it to help everyone, because she knows we were like two peas in a pod. We had the same mind, and I know Mum's spirit is still around, and it's honestly insane. My dad doesn't believe in any of that, and he's walking around the house talking to her, because she is here in his heart, and if he didn't realise that, he wouldn't have coped. I've never seen my dad like that. My dad's a very old, proud man, and he's never really shown us emotion in that sense. And the hardest thing was knowing that my dad is broken, and I'm going to have to somehow piece him back together, when I don't remember ever having a conversation about him being upset. And it was so easy with the support, and it was so easy with that feeling that Mum is there and Mum's spirit is with us. And when Dad realised that, honestly, his spirit's lifted. And as a message to everyone, I think you need to understand that that person is gone, physically no longer there, but for the rest of your life you're going to feel them there. And especially if you open up to it, you're going to live with them for the rest of your life. Like, I know Mum's always going to be there. We have her here in a beautiful urn, surrounded by things she loved and flowers and stuff. We have her here in the lounge, but she's there with everyone. She's there with everyone. The memory of her and the lessons you've learned are now sinking in, and that's always going to happen now. And I know, I can feel it. I can feel that drive to carry on in her memory. And frankly, that is the way to look at it when you've lost someone. To look at the loss is gone. The physical person has gone. But you'll remember so much about them, and you'll feel them around, and you need to accept that for what it is. You need to face it and go with it. And so what if you look like an absolute maniac? You're walking into a restaurant and you order a drink and it reminds you of that person, and you start talking as if you're talking to them. So what? Do it. Because that's how you live and cope with it, by living on with their memory. And I hope to help people through this, to help them understand, and to help other people around who are trying to help people that have just lost someone. Now I'm 24, my brother's 23, and we've lost our mum young. But my mum died at 55, which is young again. But you got to remember what they've done. You know, you've got to remember that they've lived. You know, and you've got to grab that and use that to keep going, because if you start looking back and going, what could I have done? Should I have done this? So, you know, like, A, that's not what they'd want, and B, it's not going to solve anything. Things are out of your control. Life is out of your control. And you've just got to embrace it. Now, if my dad, who's a stubborn 67-year-old, can walk around a house talking to my mum, who physically isn't here, but is in his heart, and he won't even believe in the simplest things, you know? Aliens are not real. Like, he just hasn't, you know, it's very straight. For him to turn, and anyone can. And I hope you guys, especially people who are connected to this exact thing, can, you know, honour my mum's memory by living on in the memory of mum. So don't try and figure out what happened. Don't try and figure out what could have changed. Don't try and even justify why it's happened, because it's happened and there's no way of changing it. My mum died in the bed next to the guy she loved, after going around the whole of whole of UK and seeing people she grew up with, and God, she was so happy and healthy, and whatever took her was so quick and so strong that there's nothing that could have been done. And you just need to accept that. You know, it's hard, but you need to accept it. Well, all I can say, the final message everyone has learned, and it's opened everyone's heart here, is you've got to really take this time and appreciate people around you and let them know and spend time with them. If you haven't seen, I haven't seen my brother in 14 years, and I know now every year I'm going to go visit him. I haven't seen my sister in more than that, and I haven't met her daughter, my niece. That's changing, you know. This hard lesson that mum has taught me is now changing my plans completely. And I'm not saying change everything you do, you've got to live your life, but you also have to remember there's nothing more important than the people who make your life and make sure they know. Okay. Thank you for all the messages, and again, can just feel the support and love.